Howdy folks, I'm Brian and here's some Reddit. Our first story is titled, Am I a Jerk for Calling the Police on My Husband? My husband's car doesn't work and he needs money to get it fixed. He doesn't have enough money. I'm in medicine school and have been getting ready for my exams for a month now. Every month, he and his friends go on a road trip. His car has been sitting in the garage for 3 months now. He asked me if he could use my car and take the guys on the road trip since it was his turn to take them. I told him I needed my car since I have a weak immune system and public transportation might be risky. I can't afford to get sick in the middle of my exams. He begged me, saying his friends are going to say he ruined the trip, and our discussion went nowhere. The trip was last week. I had an exam the day of the trip and left at 8 a.m. I had several things to do. I stopped by the coffee shop to use the internet. I arrived at the university at 8:30 and entered the hall to get ready for my exam. After I finished, I spent a few minutes with my friends and then I left. I got to the parking lot and my car wasn't there. I started freaking out, thinking I might have left the door open or something. I called my husband, but he didn't pick up. My friends immediately told me to call the police. I'm not sure how musical artists will help you in this case. I ended up waiting for them to ask me about what happened. The officer said I needed to come to the station to give my statement. I stayed there for 4 hours, then I was told my car was found. My husband was driving it and was picked up an hour from where we live. I was shocked and mad. It never occurred to me that he was the one who took it. I went home and waited till he got back. He was upset and didn't want to talk about what he did. The argument started after he said he made a copy of the key and didn't take it till he made sure I arrived for my exam. I yelled at him and told him that it was not okay. He caused me to stress out and worry about the car. He told me calling the police was drastic and I shouldn't have gotten them involved, but I had no idea he was the one who took the car. He said he wanted to text me but forgot. Said the trip was ruined and that he was embarrassed by being picked up by the police while he was with his friends. He still thinks calling the police was an over-the-top reaction, but what else was I supposed to do? Alright, OP. I don't know what was going through your husband's mind here. I'm going to steal my wife's car and drive it around for a little while and then hoping that nothing bad happens, like she doesn't call the police on it. So, I honestly don't know. Like, if my car suddenly vanished and I couldn't get a hold of my husband, and I don't know, like, I think that what you did here was prudent, not necessarily like an overreaction. Most people will call the police if their car is missing, and you had no reason to believe your husband would have taken your car. So, and you had a lot of other things going on at the moment. Like, you just got done with an exam, you were still probably thinking about that stuff, you probably didn't even really think about who would have taken the car. And so I can certainly understand from this point of view that you would probably be like, oh, the car was stolen. So yeah, certainly do not blame you here. So I honestly don't think you did anything wrong here. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk and dump him. He stole your car, let you worry, and can afford to go on a trip with his friends but not fix his own car? You deserve better. Go get it. He copied her key? That's a huge red flag. What else may he have copied? Dump him now before you're making a physician's salary, OP, or you'll end up paying alimony to this thief. I don't know. What do you folks think? Do you think that this is an overreaction with Reddit? Do you think that, saying that this is completely unreconcilable and that he's a thief and that he doesn't deserve a second chance? I'm on the edge of agreeing with them. I'm not sure. I think what he did do was completely uncalled for. I think what he did was probably irreconcilable. But maybe someone out there has a good argument why he should be given a second chance. I don't know. It does seem like a bit of an extreme situation. Let's put it that way. All right. Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for getting a lock for my office door after what my husband did. Hi, I'm a 33-year-old female and I'm an art teacher working at a middle school. I love my job because I grew up as an artist. I love drawing and making art when I was growing up. I'm blessed that I got to do what I love, share my knowledge and experience with others, and get paid for it. I recently started teaching a new class. It's been great so far. The class is always excited to learn and participate in different activities while focusing on improving their artistic skills. I bring my artwork with me to show them, although it's a bit complicated and they can't draw similar things, but I use this as a way to motivate and educate them about the different drawing methods. So far, I've shown them several paintings. I have a small room in the house I call my office. My husband has his own area. He's an accountant and rarely ever walks into my office. Lately, he's been having plenty of free time, and now he's starting to feel bored. He walked into my office and started messing with my paintings and adding colors and ruining the texture, etc. I told him it wasn't right. He said he was trying to make the painting look better. He wanted to start his own artwork. My brushes and tools were constantly missing. I talked to him about it, but no use. Yesterday, I came home and found the painting I've been working on to show the class was ruined by him by adding colors and getting the paper wet. We got into an argument after he said he wanted to add his own touches to make it a little better. I told him I can't take it anymore. I went to get a lock to keep my work safe after he caused me time and money. He saw the lock and said I overreacted, that I treated him like a child by getting a lock instead of talking to him, but I did talk to him, it just wasn't any good. He's upset, saying that what I did was not okay, and I was being too hard on him, treating him like a student of mine. Am I a jerk? All right, OP. I think we have a classic case of the Dunning-Kruger effect here. Your husband is an amateur who thinks he's an expert because he doesn't really realize how much stuff he doesn't know. He thinks that he can just waltz in to your office, grab a paintbrush, and improve your art. An artist who's been working and honing their skill and craft for years. I'm not serious about this suggestion, but maybe you should go into his office where he does all his accounting things and just say, well, I'm going to modify all your Excel spreadsheets to make them better, even have them completely unbalanced and stuff like that. I think that might get the point across here. The thing is this, like, we all have our skills and we all have our talents. If your husband wants to take up art as a hobby, I think that's great. You know, he should be able to do that. However, he shouldn't be modifying your art here. That's like the cardinal sin of art right there, is taking and modifying someone's, original work. That's, completely uncalled for. And it's like, also, it's so insulting in this case because, again, he's making the assumption that he can improve upon your art because for some reason he doesn't like your art. So, yeah, I really honestly, I'm trying to think of some compromise here. I really think that the best approach in this case is maybe he can start painting his own paintings. You can give him some canvases and some other things here and be like, here, these are your art supplies. And you can enjoy painting if you want to, but don't modify my work. But I honestly don't know that the lock in this case is uncalled for because you did try to talk to him, you did try to reconcile here, and he just won't listen to you. So the best you can do in this case is protect your work until he figures out not to do this. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk. Your husband is an accountant. Go add a few numbers to his spreadsheets because you want to make them better and more colorful, and see how he likes the idea of you contributing to his work. He's definitely the jerk here. I didn't actually read any of the comments before coming down here. Sometimes I do, but yeah, I did not this time. This person and I have are on the same wavelength. And then the next person replies, yes, as an accountant, I deem this equal. All right, our final letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Shutting Down My Wife's Complaints About My Parents for Missing Our Wedding? I really need some perspective on this matter because I really can't figure out who's out of line. I'm a 29-year-old male and my wife is a 27-year-old female. We got married at the beginning of last year before the pandemic. My parents missed our wedding because of my uncle, who had been battling a serious disease and had begun to decline rapidly. As a result, my parents chose to travel to their home country to visit him one last time. To give more context to the situation, the last time my parents had gone home was over 3 years before. Additionally, as a whole, we're not big into celebrations. Growing up, my parents, my older sister, and I were the only members of the family in the States. As a result, we didn't do graduation parties for high school, college, or medical school. We stopped celebrating birthdays since before middle school. We really don't celebrate milestones. Therefore, I told my parents I was fine with them not coming to my wedding to go see my uncle. One is a party, and the other is a person. My wife's family are the exact opposite, and they see my parents not attending this as a sign of neglect. For the past year, they won't stop talking about how horrible they thought the decision was. I've tried my best to turn those conversations away, but I'm not very confrontational. Recently, my wife has started to echo these points, talking about how disrespectful she found it and how hurt she was. I just got really annoyed. She knows I gave them my blessing not to attend. She also didn't speak up before the wedding. She can be mad at me, but not them. Her response is that it was her wedding too, and that she would have seemed like a bridezilla for valuing the ceremony over a person. That's true, but I feel like my parents' obligation in this situation was to support me, and morally, I couldn't ask them to stay in the United States at the time. Also, I kind of feel like my wife felt embarrassed voicing her request before the wedding, because it was actually a very selfish, morally dubious request. Maybe I'm off with everyone else in the world, but I feel like her and her family's comments are completely out of line. Alright, OP. I'm going to highlight this right here. She would have seemed like a bridezilla for valuing the ceremony over a person. Your wife already has the answer. I mean, she would have seemed like a bridezilla because, and she's aware of this on some level, because this is a completely this is a completely, unreasonable request. Like, your parents, this was something that came up suddenly. It's not like they had months and months and months to plan. It sounded like the health declined very rapidly, and sometimes that happens. And they asked for your blessing to go and see your uncle. And if you had said, I would rather you come and to my wedding, they probably would have obliged. And here's the thing is that your wife understood at the time that this was important and the right thing to do. And, I agree completely. I don't think this has anything to do with whether or not someone celebrates stuff or not. I think that that's irrelevant to the situation. Anyone who, basically, this is a kind of a rock and a hard place situation. Most people won't be faced with this decision, and that's great. But, the thing is that for people who are faced with these kinds of decisions, it can be heart-wrenching to make a choice. And this wasn't probably an easy decision for your parents to make. And you can't be at two places at once. And that's just the reality of the world. And they made a decision to go and see the person who they weren't going to be able to see again, instead of going to the wedding. So, in this case, I really honestly don't feel that they made the bad decision, and I think they did everything in their power to, keep you involved and included in that decision-making process. So, again, I really honestly feel like your wife and her family are being unreasonable here and, being unfair towards your parents. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Big, not the jerk. It's your uncle we're talking about, the brother of one of your parents. It's completely selfish to expect your parents to attend the wedding and not see your uncle. Exactly, I understand the wife's point of view. The wedding day is to celebrate the couple. However, her family went into jerk territory by bringing up repeatedly, and now she herself is echoing these complaints. At least she recognizes that she would have been a bridezilla for placing her wedding day above a dying person's needs, but she still is a jerk for dwelling on it a year later, not the jerk OP. She would have seemed like a bridezilla for valuing the ceremony over a person. It's amazing how she seems to fully understand and yet still somehow is convinced that OP's parents were disrespectful for not choosing the wedding. That's my thought exactly. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. If you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.